Welcome to the Whiskey Vault. We are Whiskey Provisioner. My name is Richard.
I'm Sohan.
We're at West China Tea and we're tasting tea and whiskey. And we're glad you're here.
And the last time we were actually physically in the Whiskey Vault, I had so much whiskey that my Irish alter ego, Seamus O'Shameless, came out.
我叫 Seamus O'Shameless， 我的爸爸是中国人，但是我妈妈是从 County Cork 来的。我现在在 Fang and Feather， 对吧？
So that's my fun memory of the real Whiskey Vault in real life, is being physically in there with Richard.
Yeah, we've got some whiskey, we've got some tea. What kind of tea did you bring for us today, Sohan?
I brought whatever is in the top of my tube here, and it's ultraviolet, red tea, purple red tea. I figure red tea is always good with whiskey. It's always a good match, and you know, the cue was the prompt was something that's going to be easy that you can kind of do in the background. And I think these tubes are like that because you can just pick whatever's on top. You don't have to think about what tea you're going to make, and you can choose which one you want. But it's so easy. You don't have to weigh anything out. You don't have to like scoop anything. So I like these ones for that. They're good social hanging out teas that you can just be like, oh, let's drink a tea. It's like putting on a record. You know, you put on the next little disc of tea, and I thought it'd be cute if we use these whiskey glasses today. And actually, hopefully I won't break your stuff with my hot water.
Actually, I like the conversation part of this. I like the idea of having a conversation with a nice whiskey and having something that sits in the background, or it can now actually take the main focus. But like you said, with music, background music, this to me is the background music to accompany a good conversation. This is Bunnahabhain 12. It is a non-peated Islay Scotch, which is unusual, and I do like the idea that it is not the normal fare. Most people think smoky, peaty from Islay. This is an exception to the rule.
And you know, I wish I had it. I don't have it right now, but there's a smoked red tea called Zhengshan Xiaozhong, aka Lapsang Suchong, that is famous for being smoky. And we get the smoky version, and we get a non-smoked version. So there's an unsmoked Zhengshan Xiaozhong that I actually really like. We don't have it right now. We'll have it soon.
Cool.
But for now, this is a red tea just like that. And yeah, I'm excited to try this because I love Islays, but they're usually smoky.
Well, the main reason I chose this whiskey was at the end of a long week, and you're just dead tired, and you just sit down with a group of friends and you're having a good conversation. It reminds me of a time someone, I thought it was Zach Smith, put this bottle on the table up near the Whiskey Vault on the patio outside of the Whiskey Vault. And it was just the right thing at the right time with the right combination of people around the table. And the whiskey didn't dominate. The whiskey was an accent to the conversation. And that's why I chose this whiskey.
Here, so now we can smell the whiskey and the leaves. So leaves, woody, whiskey, vanilla-y, almost like a rum kind of note.
Yeah, now with the tea, I'm actually getting a lot more red fruit.
And then I'll give this whiskey a try. This smells like, this reminds me a little bit of Baijiu in China.
So some people say they taste brine and salt, but I'm getting a lot more red, dark fruit, like raisins, or there's a little hint of chocolate in there.
Oh yeah, ooh, it's nice. Yeah, that's a nice pairing.
So we're drinking red tea.
Ultraviolet.
Ultraviolet.
Yeah, this is quite a storied tea. This is it has a reputation as being kind of like a sexy tea because people just feel kind of like they want to touch each other when they drink it, or just be like really cozy. And this is not like, we didn't like decide this. This is an observation that people made after drinking this tea, to the point where we actually had a party called Ultraviolet that was a blacklight party, where we drank this tea and it was a dance party with a DJ at a yoga studio.
What's the story?
Ultraviolet. You
I've never heard this story.
Ultraviolet. We had a party, our first big party that we threw ourselves, because we used to it was like people producing parties with like a keg and like, you know, all the alcohol stuff and like other substances would invite us to serve tea, and they'd pay us to come serve tea at their parties, right? And we're always like, and people loved it. People would freak out. They'd come and drink tea with us, and they'd be like, this is the best part of the party. And we were like, oh, this is cool. People like tea at a party. But then we're like, what would happen if we threw our own party where it was us doing the party and there wasn't any alcohol, there was just tea? And it was just, and so we threw it at a yoga studio where they're not trying to have people coming and drinking at their yoga studio and breaking their fancy mirrors and ruining their fancy floor. but they let us come drink tea there. So it went till 6 in the morning. We were cleaning up to like get ready for yoga to start, and it was like us and like maybe like a fifth of the people at the party. You know, they're super stoked, still like bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, cleaning up. That's ultraviolet. It's a purple tea. It's a purple red tea. It's very strong. It's very somatic, so to speak, and the redness of it makes it really warm. The purpleness of it gives it that kind of sexy vibe. I don't know how else to put it. Whatever someone feels when drinking this tea is legitimate for them. That's our collective experience with this tea at the tea house over many, many years of drinking this tea and seeing this effect produced in people again and again and again.
So you're nosing the tea. What are you getting from your tea?
I always get like straw, fruit, a bunch of berries in a wooden box full of straw.
I get the wooden box.
Right.
Yeah, your tea in a box.
Yeah, it's my tea in a box.
And going to the nose on the whiskey is just so dank. I don't know.
Vanilla-y.
Yeah.
I get like a funky vanilla.
It is funky.
Like a funky, chunky vanilla, like in the basement, eating vanilla ice cream in the basement. Like licking the vanilla ice cream off of the wooden popsicle stick in the basement. You're like playing like D&D.
Ooh.
Right? The ice cream man came. You're playing D&D and you stopped because you heard the ice cream guy come, and you went and got the Mickey Mouse ice cream, and you're finishing it up, and you got back, and you're in the basement, and you're licking the last of that vanilla ice cream off of that wooden stick.
After the tea, the syrupiness that just goes down the palate, it's just so candy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then going back to the tea is just, again,
Well, I did a much stronger steeping of the tea this time too, so we got a lot of that tannic note, then that deep, deep red color, and that's really bringing out some of the juiciness, the salivating, juicy quality of the whiskey.
Yeah, and it's really helping the whiskey as well.
Yeah, no, they're really nice together. So yeah, this would be super chill to have a bottle of this whiskey and be making this tea and be at like a ski lodge or something like that and just be having like a really classy time. And just be like, this is an unsmoked Isla.
But having good friends and conversation, I love that analogy of hanging out at a ski lodge and having tea and whiskey.
Having tea and whiskey feels exceedingly classy. Like having those two things together feels like you are James Bond. You know what I mean? It's like very, very luxurious, classy, luxurious vibes. I can speak from experience. Very romantic. Cheers.
Cheers.
Richard, to a romantic ski lodge evening with you. Well, it's been really great doing this, as always, with you, Richard. I always enjoy doing this. And it's also really an honor to be featured on the Whiskey Vault. We obviously love the Whiskey Vault a lot. You can find us, Whiskey Provisioner, on all of the social media, Whiskey Provisioner, and on YouTube, our YouTube channel, Whiskey Provisioner. West China Tea here physically in Austin, Texas, and also on Instagram, TikTok as West China Tea, and then on YouTube, our channel Tea House Ghost. So thank you so much.
We're glad you're here.
Glad you're here.
你想听到我的爱尔兰的口音讲中文是吧？那让我介绍我自己，我叫 Seamus or Shameless，